Confession. I've only had bacon for my meals today. I had regular bacon, I had a mango habanero glazed bacon, then I also had a blueberry jalapeno bacon, and about only half of that batch was really edible and the other batch was completely burnt to a crisp. Did I still eat it? Yes. Why? Because we don't waste bacon in this household, okay? Hi everyone, and welcome back to Big City B. I'm B for those of you who are just joining me for the first time. Let's just jump right into today's book review. Today I'm going to be reviewing, is that enough room? A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Some of the basics for this book: the genre is going to be fantasy romance. I realize I haven't had a fantasy book in a while here. And this is the first book of the All Souls trilogy. There is also an Amazon Prime series that's been out since 2018, so I know I'm really late on this book. I just thought it just came out when I found it, but nope, I was wrong. For trigger warnings, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but make sure you check down in the description below to see if I remembered any while I was editing. Here is your summary. Deep in the stacks of Oxford's Bodleian Library, young scholar Diana Bishop unwittingly calls up a bewitched alchemical manuscript in the course of her research. Descended from an old and distinguished line of witches, Diana wants nothing to do with sorcery. So after a furtive glance and a few notes, she banishes the book back to the stacks. Soon, hordes of demons and witches and vampires descend upon the library. Diana has stumbled upon a coveted treasure lost for centuries, and she is the only creature that can break its spell. On to the characters of this book. Because this is the beginning of a trilogy, there are a lot of characters. I think I have all the way up to track 4 characters, so get some popcorn, buckle up. We're gonna be doing characters for a little bit. Your main characters are going to be Diana Bishop and Matthew Claremont. For track 2 characters, we have Sarah Bishop, Emily Mathers, Miriam Shepherd, and lastly, Marcus Whitmore. For track 3 characters, we have Gillian Chamberlain, Peter Knox, and Ysabeau de Clement. Lastly, track 4 characters, we have Marta, Hamish Osborne, and this one I know I'm gonna get wrong, Satu Jarvinen. Okay, I think that covers it for main characters. There's like random little one-off characters, but I'm not going to name all of them. On to things that I liked about this book. The first thing, magic. It's got tons of magic. I love magic, so I loved it in this book. The second thing that I liked about this book was the introduction of daemons. I haven't read any other book that talks about daemons, or like I know from some mythology what daemons are supposed to be, but in this book, I felt like I knew more about them and I was learning about them, and I thought they were cool creatures that need to be in more books because they're a little bit chaotic but a little bit good. So that was interesting, and I like that because they would be a really good anti-hero. The third thing that I liked was kind of the combination of werewolves and vampires into the species of vampires. I really liked that they had these animalistic qualities to them and how they each had like a specified thing that they were good at, like hearing or smell, or they were faster, or they healed faster, or la 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 la. And I think it was good to combine the werewolves and vampires. I think it would have been a little bit too muddy if we had introduced that 4th species of creature in this book. And I just thought it was a different take on vampires that I liked. I like that. Good job, Deborah. The 4th thing that I liked was maybe the underlying theme of division versus unity, and how our societies are better if we all come together instead of, you know, separating by species, see race, or magical talents, see religion, / just see any other differences in human beings that people like to separate and alienate by. So I liked that. It seemed like it was hinting that it is better to be unified as a magical creature rather than just being separated out by their magical powers. The fifth and final thing that I liked was the historic tidbits. I've really been finding like history facts and information more interesting, and when I was younger I hated hearing about anything besides the 1940 time period. I think that's good. I think I'm growing as a person, and I liked these. I didn't fact check any of these, but if they're real tidbits, which I hope they are, otherwise I'm gonna sound like an idiot. I liked reading about them and the historical content for the scattering of tidbits. Also, I found myself kind of going on the same thought wandering that Diana would when she learned about a historical tidbit. So that was cool. That like me and Diana were on like the same wavelength and we were thinking about like the same thing. So chill, you know, I could be a witch. I could be a witch. On to things that I didn't like. The first thing that I didn't like was it was very reminiscent of Twilight. And I don't know how I feel about it, because reading Twilight as a middle schooler, I loved the series until people started to make fun of the series and say that the series wasn't cool. So I don't know if I shouldn't like it because of Twilight or not. There are very strong similarities between Edward Cullen and Bella Swan versus Matthew Claremont and Diana Bishop. Although I do think that Matthew and Diana are like the elevated, more intelligent Edward and Bella. Also, I'm just not sure how to feel about this because of the new Twilight book coming out, Midnight Sun. It's been how many years since we ended the series, and like we're having another book? I don't know. I just feel like I'm in an alternate dimension right now where we're getting more Twilight books. I'm still on the edge if I should read it or not. Okay. The second thing that I didn't particularly like was that this book was drawn out. There were definitely sections of the book which could have been shortened and condensed and sped through a little bit, but realizing that this is the first book of 3, I know a lot of the backstory and history and setup needs to all be done in this book. So then the second book, we're gonna have a lot of action, and then in the third book, we'll have a little bit of action, and then like the conclusion of the whole story. So I am totally willing to overlook it, and really these what I didn't likes weren't super strong and like, yeah, I really didn't like them. It was just more like I don't know if I liked this bit. Not as strong of a what I didn't like section as some other reviews. Let's move on to my quote for this book. I only have one, but I think it's an important one, and that quote is this. As far as I can tell, there are only 2 emotions that keep the world spinning year after year. One is fear, the other is desire. Ooh, tingly, like, ooh. Matthew Claremont, say that to me again, woohoo! I like this quote a lot, and I like thinking to how it actually applies to our real life, and how, yeah, a lot of the things we do are either for the desire to get better, the desire for someone else, the desire to be in a different place, or out of fear. The fear that we'll be stuck in one place, the fear of somebody else, the fear of, like, for the lack of moving is the fear of something new. So I thought it was interesting and a good quote. I liked it. Lastly, would I recommend this book? Yes, I would. I liked it a lot. Even though it was reminiscent of Twilight, I felt like it was different enough, especially with the added business of witches and daemons and their own conflicts that they have going on and history tidbits. I feel like this is like the adult Twilight. Like Twilight is YA. Can we all agree on that? Can we agree that Twilight is YA? And then this is like, this is what you read when you're an adult, but you still want a little bit of that like romancy vampire witch thing going on, because for some reason vampires float our boats. But for me, magic floats my boat. So just so you know. I think you should read it. I'm trying to find the second and third book, but my library doesn't have them. And right now, because of what's going on in the world, I don't really have extra pennies to purchase those other 2 books. If you know another reading app where I can find free or significantly discounted rates on the second and third book in this series, let me know down in the comments or message me directly, because I want I want to know. I want to read. I want to finish this series. I want to read it. Alrighty, everyone. I hope you're doing well. All the best always. Bye.